Weekdays Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It's June 1st, which means it's the start of Pride Month.
Yes.
So from all of us here at DBL, happy Pride, everybody. Yes. We want to recognize, support, and love all of our LGBTQ plus viewers out there. We are very proud and open to do so. I'm a
little worried because it's also my birthday month. I don't want to overshadow Pride. My birthay's on 29th.
Dr. Jackson.
It's
all the way at the end. Can two be together?
That's right.
That's right. All right, we do have an update on the horrible school shooting in Texas. Today's funerals are being held for one of the teachers killed in the attack, Irma Garcia. Her husband, Joe, oh boy, he's also being laid to rest today. Joe died of a heart attack just 2 days after his wife was killed. They were high school sweethearts. We're also learning that the back door that gunman used to enter the school was in fact closed by a teacher at the school after she realized a gunman was on campus. Officials said the door failed to lock. At first we heard the door was kept propped open by a teacher.
We heard a lot of things.
We did. And there are new questions again for the Uvalde Police School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo. Multiple reports say he is now not cooperating with the state investigation after his decision not to confront the shooter and storm the classroom. Immediately that came under intense scrutiny. So he says he's made a call back to the state investigators. They say he sure hasn't. If you didn't know, he was quietly elected to city council last night behind closed doors.
It's a decision.
What do we think is happening with the door? Is this a cover-up? What do we think? Talk to me about what you feel about these new revelations, Lindsay.
When I first saw that he wasn't going to speak, I was like, wow, how is that even an option? But the fact that it is, I think that we have so much information about all of the intentionally or non-intentionally things that were reported incorrectly that we have them on tape now. So whether he cooperates or not, I'm really excited to see what happens of this investigation because I really want to know why and what would make somebody get to the bottom of this. I mean, not get to the bottom of this and go save children, because I think we all were on the same page that police officers have an option to do that job. And so the fact that they all stood outside and just heard the gunshots and watched kids die is not acceptable. We also understand the fear that it takes to be a police officer, the natural human fear of not going home again at night. And so I really want to know, are these people going to be put on administrative leave? Are they, like, what are the protocols? Like, what is the what's going to happen, whether he cooperates or not? What's the next step? And I think the whole world is watching.
Yes.
So we want to know how you guys are going to handle this if somebody just in Texas says, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, if they go quiet. I mean, it also brings up the idea of good guys with guns always stopping bad guys with guns. Clearly, that did not happen here. That argument is sort of moot at this point with that.
I think it's simplistic and childishly dangerous to even think like that. Good guys and bad guys. Is that how the world works, Lindsay? Everything's either good or bad. Like, that's not. What are we talking about here? The problem is when we hire police officers, we make sure they can do a certain amount of chin-ups, a certain amount of sit-ups, no criminal background check, seem to be a good guy, have a good essay, and then you're a police officer, and we give you these incredible abilities, almost superhuman abilities.
Right.
Like, literally, we deputize you as the people that you are allowed to take a life should it come to that situation. And this is thrown in our face when somebody is murdered, a black man is murdered or killed. Well, the cop, and they don't know, and they're our heroes. But now, when it was time to be a hero, we were outside macing parents. And the problem is when we start trying to hire cops, there's no test for bravery, Lindsay.
But really there was, because they had extensive training on this exact situation, I think 2 months prior to the shooting happening. And then before that, a couple months before that. So this is not something that's like, no school is aloof to the fact that they are in danger of a possible school shooting. Hopefully, and it doesn't happen to most school districts, but they all plan for it. Like when we were in school, we had to plan in case we were bombed. You go into bomb training. Like, schools have the preparation, and the police force that's local has the preparation. And Uvalde actually touted it on Facebook that they went through, sent pictures, and we completed the training.
SWAT gear.
Exactly, they have the gear. So to me, to be fearful after you had extensive training, you know how to deal with an active shooter in that situation. So what the issue was, we're still confused because we also heard the reports that they weren't scared to go get their kids.
Yeah.
They weren't scared to go get
Exactly, and that's
their
where
own
the bravery
children.
comes in. It's like, yes, when it's on me, if I need to save my family from a burning building, that's different than getting other people's family. And Lindsay, as you were talking, you made me think about something. It's from the great poet Mike Tyson, you know, because you were talking about training, and he always says everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the face. And that's what happened. They did all the training. I'm sure all the cops we saw, they all had their pristine uniforms. Very handsome men ready to stroll out there. But when the bullets started flying and they heard that AR-15, all that training went away, and their thoughts were, get my kids and get out of wherever those bullets are coming from. And that was not their job. They failed to do their job, and people died. They need to be held accountable. There's no discussion.
My thing is I want him fired. Straight up.
Fired? That's best case scenario.
I agree. He just got on city council. I'd like him fired. I'd like a DOJ investigation.
I used to work for a sink company. I got fired. That's not a big, you know.
I just think that people should be aware of their local politics. We always talk about this, and everyone's worried about the national election or even the midterm. Yeah. For sure. People that are going to be representing you in the Senate and in the House. But like, what's happening on your city council is really more relevant than anything. Exactly. It has to do with the pothole right in front of your house or how protected your schools are, your kids are at school.
Yes.
Who's the sheriff?
Yes. Very much.
The sheriff has a lot of sway too.
One of the kids who survived said, I want to become a surgeon, and he used to be wanting to be a policeman. He said, I want to be a surgeon now so I can help people. I think that says a lot. All right, in Washington, a group of bipartisan senators are reportedly making progress on legislation they hope they can get passed. Now, it would focus on helping states pass red flag laws that would allow officials to temporarily take guns away from individuals who are seen as a threat to themselves or others. Meantime, in New York, a survivor of the mass shooting on a subway in April is suing the gun maker Glock. She claims the company is contributing to, quote, creating and maintaining a public nuisance. So that's trying to get through their immunity that the gun manufacturers have. It's a test for a new law that allows victims of gun violence to sue firearm makers for dealers for their injuries. Glock has yet to respond to the lawsuit. So I spoke to my dad about this, who's an attorney, and he was saying the argument that a lot of manufacturers say, right, is like even cars, knives, popcorn makers, guns, all of this, is that they are responsible only for making their products. They don't have anything to do with it being put out after that. What this is trying to do is change that. What do you think about that? And what do you think about the bipartisan 10 senators from each trying to make some kind of change? Do you think it will happen?
Well, I think that gun manufacturers have been faced with this conversation before, and a lot of them have said the majority of the people that own our guns have been using them safely. So that's another argument. Like, we don't actually make the person do the act. Sure. And so that is a conversation. I don't know how it holds up in court. This is going to set the precedence. But I think we all talked about the fact that nothing's gotten done. Like, I think Republicans have stood firm on the Second Amendment. Democrats have stood firm on that they want to just completely change everything as it is and ban certain guns, and that's how they want to move forward. And I think that in order to have this conversation, we have to have bipartisanship, and we have to have people meet together and talk about what ideas are really going to be implementable. Yeah. That's even a word, you know, and actually get it done.
They need 60.
Because doing nothing, because one side is too extreme maybe to one, and then the other side is too extreme to the other, that is not going to help us. And so we really need to protect children. We really need to protect people. And so if it comes down to we can agree upon background checks and red flag laws and start there, let's start there.
Yes, and let me be clear, you need 60 senators to pass. It has to pass over a filibuster to get this passed. It would give money incentive for states to pass red flag laws. It wouldn't pass federal red flag laws, and it would give a background check to commercial. So at a gun store, there would be a federal background check. Do you think that can happen?
No. No. They can't, like...
They got Lindsey Graham on this.
Yeah, I know. Right now they do. This week they do. What about next Wednesday, Lindsay? How many stories are we going to cover?
You think they're just waiting for it to die down?
Just like they always do with everything else. Because
Elizabeth Warren said these same words.
And I'm going to say this in defense of Republican representatives. They do that because their base ain't having it. If they try and suggest any changes with gun laws, they're gone. So they are no longer in that position. They will be voted out, 100%. We saw Madison Cawthorn. He made a couple comments. They got him.
He didn't make a couple. He did more than a couple.
But
they got him up out of there.
I will say this, but 88% of us agree on universal background checks.
I said people keep talking about these this broad majority of constituents, but there's been studies done. I know some people don't like studies that have shown that most people say, yeah, we should make background checks tougher. Yes, we should maybe raise the age limit to access a gun. You know, there are conversations that are being had amongst Americans who vote the people in.
I mean, why don't things change? Because I've seen those. I agree with you.
Money from the NRA. It's less about constituents, I think, than the money from the NRA. That's what I think it's about. Coming up on DBL, is the Johnny and Amber trial over yet?
That's a nice suit.
We've got the latest of what's happening in the courtroom. Plus, President Biden and the First Lady are revealing how they settled their arguments. Is fighting over text a good idea?
Closed captioning provided by...
This June, DBL isn't holding back.
I've already spent my time and all of my sanity on trying to make you happy.
I like a little cheese on my potatoes. That was what's going on in my head.
That's what we need more of, conversations in this country.
Like this show. Thank you. DBL is all new every day.
All right, so Lynn, you brought up something, and Tori, we didn't hear from you.
I have a question for you guys really quick. Do you think that it's up to the police to decide if their commander says, yo, this is a barricading situation, they have to listen to their rank, right? So, like, if the commander said it, is it their responsibility? Eventually, the federal people did come in and say, screw this, we're coming in. But is it their right to go against orders? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think there's like...
Because that could turn out the other way, too.
Exactly.
Bad,
what if it goes badly?
Don't go in there, and then you get more people
Exactly.
hurt.
And the federal guy didn't know the training and said, if you need help, yell help. And a girl yelled help, and she was shot. So he didn't follow the actual protocol that the local people knew, but they didn't go in. So what do you do? Do you go in and just break rank?
Well, they ended up doing that.
Federally, the Border Patrol.
Who's more senior anyway?
The Border Patrol agents were more senior. They're federal, right? But the local official commander called it a barricaded situation, in which case you stand down.
But I'm assuming that they could hear that it wasn't a barricaded situation.
They could hear shots, apparently.
So, I mean,
what do you do?
I think at this point we're talking about, blame and would you get in trouble, and I do understand there's an element, but I think that there's got to be a part of us as human beings where there's like an animalistic side.
Yeah, like just
where like once you hear kids screaming and gunshots, either you're going to do something or you're not. And we can talk around it at this beautiful desk, but when you're there in that Texas sun in that morning.
But that's why, I think probably people were listening to law enforcement because think about like the Titanic or a boat sinking. Like the natural reaction is to get animalistic, jump off. But there's an order that can get everybody safely off if they have enough time. It's those little exit boats and letting the women and children go first. Like they had a plan, not the Titanic, obviously. Yeah. But like if their boat sinks now, a Carnival cruise, they have a plan, the exit strategy. Yeah. And so if everyone didn't listen, but I think Uvalde, like they said, they made the bad call. They made the wrong call. People listened to them and they made the wrong call.
Welcome back. The jury in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial are in the second day of deliberations. At the time of this taping, there is not a verdict yet. Yesterday, jurors asked the judge a question, and it's always good to hear from the juries to see what they're thinking. If the headline used in Amber's op-ed is included in the defamation case, or if it's just the article. They were told that the headline is one of 3 statements that they have to weigh in on. What do y'all think is going on in that jury room?
It's so crazy because the court of public opinion made their decision that nobody wants to hear from Amber Heard, which is tragic if she's telling the truth. But it also is just real about the large majority or the memes that I've seen. I don't know, maybe who I follow. It just seems like everyone thinks that Johnny Depp is going to walk away victorious in this. But obviously the jury is kind of stuck. They want to when they start asking a lot of questions or taking this long, usually, I don't know what, you know more about this than me.
Well,
usually, what does that mean?
Well, some people thought immediately they'd be like, Pirates of the Caribbean, like Johnny Depp is a winner. But you're absolutely right. They've been instructed with very detailed information. At any point, did Amber feel she was abused in any way? If she did for a day, then that is not a defamation trial, which we heard from Mark Eiglarsh, right, the attorney. So for them to ask, is the headline, which I'd love to get to know what the headline was, I want to get that information, if that's included, they are going down to the nitty-gritty words, so it is much closer than I originally affirmed. I thought perhaps this would all be Depp. I think you're right. I think it's going to be closer. While the jury deliberates, though, more fans of Johnny, though, appear to be showing up at the courthouse. So check out this.
Oh my
It is a
gosh.
giant pirate ship that showed up yesterday. The Pirates of the Caribbean themed ship is parked. How do you park a boat?
I don't know. Someone in New Orleans is like, "Where's our float?" Like, that's very, like, where did you get that?
Who has the time is what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, people love him. Meanwhile, Johnny is yet to return to the States. He again performed for a second time at a Jeff Beck concert in London. Now, a special guest was in attendance, Johnny's ex, Kate Moss. The two reportedly partied backstage together, and that has lots of people talking about a possible reconciliation between them.
Whoa.
Lindsay, talk to me about, is this a good idea? Is this
She's like, oh, this craziness is turning me on.
It
What's
is.
going on?
Or is this distraction, like I'm jangling Kate Moss over here, so you ignore this over here?
Look, I think the fact that you're showing up to your ex's, let's be honest, probably super whack band, you know, to go hear them. They're probably not great. They
We
don't
heard him
practice
last
a lot.
yesterday, not
They didn't. That's not my cup of tea. But he's got fans, and God bless you, and go enjoy Johnny. But I think the fact that she's showing up to that and then hanging back, and it's like. Not even leaked. It said the word party backstage. Y'all are back together. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that
Y'all
was the
are back
smoke that we
together.
saw with J-Lo and Ben Affleck. It was like, oh, they're just around each other
Yeah,
randomly.
right. Do you want them to be? Do you think this is good for them?
I really want Johnny Depp to just stay silent until this is done with, so we can get, like, don't go outside, don't go to the party, don't party with Kate
Don't be
Moss
at the
in
band.
public.
Yeah.
Just chill at the house, have a house party. Like, I want him just to chill out because
Interesting.
it would
Especially
just
when deliberations
yeah,
are
we're in the
coming
middle. Like, and I know they're not supposed to watch anything that's going on outside of the courtroom, but like,
Come on.
nothing's
The
wrong with
internet.
erring on the side of caution in this particular case.
Exactly. Now, there was no gag order given by the judge, so he can
What
sing
about his
terribly
lawyer being
all he
like,
wants.
I would just send a text that would just be the letter R, you crazy, but no even vowels.
Let me tell you what, I think that his lawyer planned it, and it's strategy to show confidence. I think it's a victory lap before we even hear.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but that doesn't seem like a good plan.
I think it's if the jury hears how confident he is, I don't know, it might just subliminally change something. Who knows?
Maybe.
Coming up on DBL, looks like President Biden and the First Lady settle arguments over text. Do you do the same? We're texting about it next. Just kidding, we're talking about it.
More than 100,000 people have viewed this clip claiming to show a man jumping from the tracks up to a subway platform in New York City moments before a train passes. It was posted with the caption, "There's a new challenge, y'all." So let's verify. Did the person in the video actually jump from the tracks to the platform moments before a train passed? Our sources are the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Google Maps, and video provided to verify. The video was taken at a station near Times Square, which we confirmed using Google Maps. New York City resident Eileen Clancy went to the station and recorded the exact location where the viral video was taken. It shows a train leaving the station, not arriving as claimed in the viral video. An MTA spokesperson confirms to verify at this station, quote, "Trains run on the right-hand side of the station, while this video would make it appear to run on the left side," unquote. The MTA also pointed out other telltale signs the train was departing in the video, such as red lights that are always on the back of a train, not on the front. And the conductor cab on the train is empty, which only happens in the rear. This means the video was played in reverse and the person jumped onto the tracks as the train was moving away from them. So, no, the person in the video did not actually jump from the tracks to the platform moments before a train passed. The MTA says the stunt is still very dangerous because trains are powered using an electrified third rail that would harm anyone who touches it, adding, quote, "This action is, no matter the circumstances, a blatant violation of MTA rules, New York City law, and common sense." With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. Do you ever fight with your partner over text. Turns out even our president, first lady, hash it out via text message. Jill Biden told Harper's Bazaar that fighting over text is their preferred method of arguing. She says that way they can avoid fighting in front of the Secret Service. Oh, well, that's like a whole other reason.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have that issue. But experts say text fighting is actually the worst way to argue because the majority of our communication with people is through nonverbal cues like emotional tone. And as we all know, you lose a lot of that when texting. And you know me, I'm phone phobic. I prefer text over any phone call. So I fight over text and I'm okay with it and I'm good at it.
Oh, okay.
Well, whenever I see, like, this could be with friends or with Colin, if the screen, like, has mostly
like it's a block?
yeah, mostly a block, I'm gonna call you later.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not reading that. We're not doing that. So, but unless, like, if there's people around, I hate doing that. So I'll just be like, you ever seen American Gangster where Denzel's like, my man?
Yeah.
You know I'm hot. So we're gonna talk about it later. I'll be like, my man.
My man. So if I hear that from you, it's over.
And yeah, we'll talk
on the table.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later, and then we'll just talk about it. I don't care if we're in another state on vacation with a bunch of people. We'll talk about it in a week.
So you don't have a problem with verbal communication, kind of confrontation?
No, but I don't like also making a spectacle.
Right.
That's not, I hate that actually. It's
See,
just
I
like,
can't even
it's a
do it
bad
in
look.
private.
Yeah.
I can't.
But I think it's
do it.
interesting that Lindsay said, so you can like, okay, y'all are on vacation in the Bahamas. And
well,
something
no,
happens.
if it's me and
Could
him,
you
we've
wait a
argued
week?
on vacation. But if it's all of us, like the whole DBL staff and Colin's there and we're all sharing a house, we are not having a blow-up argument
Right.
in that house. We will wait until we get back to Denver, and that's when we will argue.
Or
And I will remember every feeling that was felt during that
little
time.
tension in the security line
Exactly,
on the
but
way
we're
home.
going to enjoy the trip.
Yeah.
No eye contact.
See, I am pro doing it over text just for this. I think that when you're both really hot about something, I think if you're trying to communicate, when you are, sometimes the other person can cut you off, so only half of your sentence gets out there, and it can kind of change the way the argument goes. So I feel like if I can put everything that I feel in like 3 or 4, not bullet points, but like sentences, like, I wanted to go here. We said we were going to go. We did not go. That's why I was upset. Just like very simple. No, like in you, I try to take out any aggressive language, but just this is why I'm upset. And we can talk about this, but at least like know when we speak, this is what I'm coming with.
Right. This is my ground rules of what's happened. I agree. For me, I get a little like flustered and angry, and I tend to sort of go faster and angry. And when I text, I have to stop and think about what I'm going to say. Now, I've learned my lesson with the big bubble.
Right.
I do little bubbles, a lot of them.
So my phone's going to go beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, so it goes ding,
for 5
ding,
minutes.
ding, ding. But again, I also say we can talk about this later, but this is what, for some reason, I need you to know this is how I feel. And again, I try and not put the anger in it. Now, our executive producer, Chris, said you could use emojis, which I think is interesting because they are a quick way to be like,
I'm not that mad.
yeah, right? Like, I'm like, that's that face.
Yeah, and I think also emojis are good when you're texting with people like at work that you don't have like a really close relationship, so they know, if
Not
somebody
like-
didn't know you like that, like a sentence could look weird.
Right.
You know,
A period could look like,
Right,
whoa,
exactly.
okay.
Like you don't want to be like, oh, Lindsay just bossed me around, told me to have her belt in the green room. Like, so you put like a little smiley face, like, please have it because I need it. You know,
Right,
it's like
totally.
it's a different
Or
way to
I
send
still
it.
use LOL even though I'm never laughing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like,
yeah. I don't think anyone LOLs anymore when they write LOL.
But I will say that text really made me laugh out loud. I will actually type that out when somebody says something hilarious.
That's
so
funny.
it's weird. Yeah.
You give credit where credit's due. That's funny. All right, we'll be right back. We'll text you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
On May 18th, pop star Taylor Swift received an honorary doctorate from New York University. The university said it awarded Swift the degree because she is one of the most prolific and celebrated artists of her generation.
I'd like to thank NYU for making me, technically, on paper at least, a doctor.
And that led several people to ask what the difference is from a traditional academic doctorate. So let's verify. Do honorary doctorates hold the same academic weight as traditional doctorates? Our sources are the University of British Columbia Guide on How to Cite Honorary Degrees, Dr. Julie Wallman, president of Widener University in Pennsylvania, NYU's Registrar of Academics, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and University of Virginia. An honorary doctorate is a degree conferred by a college or a university to recognize a person's extensive contributions to a field. No academic coursework required. The type of doctorate they receive typically corresponds with their work. For example, Swift received a doctorate of fine arts from NYU, while Harvard University awarded chef and humanitarian Jose Andres with a doctorate of humane letters. But no matter what type of honorary doctorate is awarded, Dr. Julie Wallman, president of Widener University in Pennsylvania, says the awards are just that, honorary.
It has no, meaning or a value beyond that, but it's a huge honor to receive one because it means that that college or university recognizes the body of your life's work.
Dr. Wallman says universities and colleges usually have nomination systems and boards in place to help validate who is awarded, and that the Board of Trustees has the final say. But not everyone is eligible, and not every university awards honorary degrees, like Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the University of Virginia. You're going to have to earn a doctorate from them the old-fashioned way. So we can verify, no. Honorary degrees do not hold the same academic weight as traditional doctorates. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
What is now a collection of parades, parties, and concerts began with a clash between the LGBTQ+ community and New York police. In June 1969, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a popular gay bar in Greenwich Village. They claimed the property had violated liquor laws. As police officers began making arrests, those remaining gathered right outside. Now, at this point in history, homosexuality was still considered a criminal offense, and it was common for police to raid bars just like Stonewall. But this particular raid led to a nighttime riot. Over the next 6 days, thousands took to the streets in protest. In 1970, on the first anniversary of the police raid, activists organized the Christopher Street Liberation Day March. It was the start of the city's first Gay Pride Week. Fast forward to 1999, and then President Bill Clinton became the first to issue an executive order recognizing June as Pride Month. Connecting the dots, I'm Victoria Valenzuela.
Welcome back. Summer break means more screen time for many children, and we have some safety tips for y'all. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So before kids go away to camp or leave for sleepovers, just adjust the privacy settings and set parental controls for online games, apps, and social media. Also, please make sure that adults in charge are aware of screen time limitations. And have conversations with your children about the dangers of sharing private information online. Now, if your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-953-0836 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. We got some comments. Alyssa says, I think texting is okay to solve some conflicts. A lot of fights, though, can escalate when angry emotions come out. But if I hear that phone ring, I'll throw it.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't even come near me.
You're not a fan. I get it.
Don't you think it's nice to like wait a little minute and then have the conversation, whether it's text or phone? Because immediately it's always like this.
You need a buffer.
Intense thing when it could really probably just be calmly talked about.
How many relationships in people's lives would be different if they had taken a walk before they said what they said to their spouse or their boss or whatever? I think if you just...
Or even just a day. Like, I'll take like a couple days, too, and be like, I'm going to talk to her about it now.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Wait a second.
The pause.
Wait a second.
The pause. I love it. DBL's new every day. We will see you same time, same place. Don't forget to pause.